Welcome back to Cheddar's Opening Bell. Let's look at these markets here. Another record high for the NASDAQ, green across the screen. The Dow up triple digits, the S&P 500 up more than 1%, and the Russell 2000, the small caps, also gaining on the session. We do want to check in on shares of Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, a biotech company. It is announcing this morning that it will begin late-stage clinical trials to assess its effectiveness of its treatment for the coronavirus. It's an antibody cocktail. It's meant to prevent and treat COVID-19. Those shares currently up just about 1.5%. All right, well, a major racing series is accelerating its efforts supporting diversity and inclusion. INDYCAR and Indianapolis Motor Speedway announcing the race for equality and change. And joining us now is Mark Miles. He's the president and CEO of Penske Entertainment, the parent company of INDYCAR. Mark, it's good to have you with us this morning. We have heard a lot of companies say that they want to be more inclusive. What real action is your company taking?
Thanks for having me. We're going to be attacking this on all fronts, and we want to make it clear this isn't a program. This is what we think is our future. We want to make our sport more diverse in every way. So it deals with employment and development of minority employees. It deals with ownership of teams. It deals with trying to recruit and train and develop Black and minority drivers, members of teams, crew members. At all levels of the sport, there are opportunities, and we just need to be very aggressive to making sure that we reach out to minority communities in a meaningful way to get them involved.
NASCAR obviously dealing with its controversy after the news found in Bubba Wallace's stall. As a fellow racing league, what's your response to that, and has there been discussion internally at the company about that incident?
Yeah, of course. There's been a lot of communication with NASCAR. In fact, I'm sure your viewers know that we ran an event at Indianapolis Motor Speedway this past weekend with NASCAR for the first time in the history of the sport. Listen, we have a lot of admiration for Bubba Wallace and what he's going through and how he stepped up to help lead change in the sport. In fact, he was involved with us the weekend prior to this one. We have been longtime supporters of a program called Next Gen Racers that finds largely African-American teenagers who would probably otherwise not have anything to do with racing, puts them in driver suits, brings them to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, gets them in go-karts, and teaches them about racing, as well as offering STEM curriculum. And 2 weekends ago, Bubba did a Zoom call with these 20-some young people, and it was just terrific to see them light up. So we have great respect for what he's doing, and it's been terrific to have him help us reach kids here in Indianapolis.
What are effective strategies, Mark, that you found in terms of the outreach or that you might be trying going forward to try to get a more diverse and inclusive community?
I think we have to invest in minority communities, go to them, not just publish job openings, but really develop relationships in important ways with minority communities. Our goal eventually, of course, is to get them engaged with the sport. But we think we have to do that by really building meaningful relationships, not just in Indianapolis, Indiana, where we're headquartered, but also to the extent that we can where our race teams are headquartered and where we race, the cities that host INDYCAR.
You have a $1 million fund that you've recently established, Mark. It's my understanding. Is that going to promoting these relationships and these building blocks?
Exactly. Using these racing metaphors, we said it will help fuel this program. It's more than the money, but we have committed $1 million to invest in communities, as I mentioned, and to do whatever it is that the dollars can do to provide the resources to help us get further faster.
Tomorrow, another day honoring the Black community, considered another Blackout Tuesday. This sense in many people saying that you should only be buying from Black-owned businesses on Tuesday. Is your company doing anything to get on board with that?
Yeah, frankly, as much as we understand the symbolism of Tuesday, what we really want to do is pedal to the metal in dealing with minority businesses. Procurement's a big part of the opportunity. So we've already reached out to leadership here that is involved in organizing minority businesses and we want to connect with them and do more. We've been involved in programs like this here since Indianapolis hosted the Super Bowl. And I think we have a sense of how we can make a difference. We just need to really get after it and make it happen.
What's the interest, Mark, that you've seen recently from young people, from the millennial demographic? Are they interested in the sport? And how do you try to up the demand in terms of who wants to see this?
Yeah, so broadening to the general population, people think, millennials don't care about cars and so racing is doomed. I don't buy that at all. We can park a race car at an airport and just watch the kids and the young people and the millennials who will go over, gravitate to it. Racing is an extreme sport. It's high level engineering. It's very technical, but also incredibly exhilarating and exciting. So we think it's a sport that young people can appreciate for all that it means to them. And we're trying to be better at going to the market in a way that we can reach millennials more effectively.
In terms of how the coronavirus has changed your business, talk about your plans through the rest of the year and what changes have needed to be made as we see cases in more than half the states in the country rise.
An incredible amount of work has gone into racing without fans. And so whether it's just INDYCAR, as we raced at the Texas Motor Speedway maybe 3 weekends ago, or last weekend where we raced here in Indianapolis with NASCAR, elaborate procedures we could talk about for an hour, but every precaution is being made, every procedure is being put into place to try to do all that we can to keep our participants from getting infected. Now, following this past weekend, we race at Road America. It's a pretty rural track in Wisconsin. There's a double header, and it's the first event where we will have fans. It's very outdoors. There's camping and motorhomes and the like. And then we race in Iowa, which is a short oval, and there's precautions there that have been worked out with the public health officials and the political leadership. I think we'll have something like 20% of the stands available for fans and take all the right precautions. Then we're in Ohio, and after those 5 races, we'll be in Indianapolis, and we plan to have the Indianapolis 500-mile race and to try to do so on the 23rd of August. A lot of work is being done to put into place all the best practices to make that as safe as we possibly can.
All right, Mark Miles, he's the president and CEO of Penske Entertainment. Mark, thanks for sitting down with us this morning.